create video games.
It's just supposed to be a little side project.
Will Snail. It's just a matter of time.
Jonas Tyroller has become one of the most inspiring indie game devs in the industry. With over 130,000 subscribers, a successful Steam release, and the launch of his magnum opus after 4 years of development, how did we get here? We set our scene around the year 2000. I was less than 0 years old, the first installment of The Sims had just been released, and an itsy-bitsy Jonas had just graduated kindergarten. Jonas didn't have access to the computers or game engines we have today, but he did have this. And with his imagination coupled with his enjoyment of creating, he made his very first games. Jonas enjoyed making these games, and when he turned 9, his dad lent him a tool that would help him make more. GameMaker. GameMaker was a game engine to, you guessed it, make games. Jonas happily accepted the offer and proceeded to explore the genres of shooting games, platforming, exploration, and many more. As Jonas grew, so did his skills, eventually leading him into making games at 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗧𝗥𝗦𝗡 Berlin. He tried making a game with a stranger across the internet, a game with a baby possessed by the devil, and a fun PvP game. Everything was smooth sailing. And then he quit school. On January 10th, 2018, Jonas would create his channel to document the progress of his game 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 was a strategy game set in space where you could duplicate your fighters to attack other enemies and eventually win the round. In the start, Jonas would upload videos to his channel daily, where he would also start a little side project where an evil AI prediction movement. By May of that year, Jonas would upload weekly videos of higher quality and quit making 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 due to it being confusing and unappealing. Instead, he would focus on his little side project, a project that would change his life. Will You Snail? Will You Snail started out as Jonas's attempt to make a viral indie game. Similar to other games like Super Meat Boy or Celeste, Will You Snail was a platformer where players would have to dodge the traps of an evil AI called Squid. Along with his new, more pretentious project, Jonas would also switch the style of his YouTube videos, marked by his most popular video to date. By the end of 2018, Jonas would release 2 demos for the game, along with some other videos that occasionally got views. After celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the channel, Jonas hosted the very first WowWee Jam and released his game, Islanders. Wait, what? Islanders is a high-score casual game where you populate islands with buildings. You gain points for how well the buildings are placed, you travel to new islands, and the game ends when you run out of buildings to place. Now, how did Jonas work on a Steam release while also making Will You Snail? He didn't. Islanders was made for part of Jonas's bachelor's program while he was still at the 𝗗𝗘𝗦𝗏𝗏𝗏 Berlin Game School. He worked in the Grizzly Games group with 2 other people along with 3 coaches to release the game in just 4 months. Originally, the game was supposed to be a 2D high-score game, but over many prototypes, along with this, Islanders was ready to be published. And thanks to his video a week before launch, the game was released on April 4th, 2019 and hit the front page of Steam, growing Jonas's channel from 3,000 to 8,000 subscribers. We're now in the middle of 2019, and after the success of Islanders, Jonas would upload more game dev videos, with some getting upwards of 300,000 views. He also collaborated with 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, another game dev YouTuber, to finish a game for the GMTK Game Jam. After continuing the game dev videos, Jonas tried to finish Will You Snail in 4 weeks, which resulted in this. Early the next year, Jonas would show the results of his WowWee Game Jam 2.0, which currently sits at over 700,000 views. Over the next 4 months, Jonas's videos would perform superbly, with each video hitting over 100,000 views. He would also collab with 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 again for 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 steadily, but it was time to try something new. On the 19th of October, Jonas would upload a new video that would mark a new era of his channel, the One-Off Devlogs. Jonas would switch a good chunk of his content from making videos for games to making games for videos. After his escapade with the unending bathrooms, he would go on to break Unity in ways never seen before, making a game controlled with his mind and a gaming console out of a toaster. He would also release the early trailer for Will You Snail and reveal the results to his early Game Jam 3 in early 2021. For the rest of the year, he collaborated with these people, uploaded yet another Will You Snail devlog, and made more game dev videos, both to help the community and to unveil his next crazy experiment. After 4 years of building and developing, however, Jonas decided it was time to release his masterpiece. On February 4th, 2022, Jonas released his last Will You Snail devlog. This was it, the final stretch. 5 days later, Jonas released a bombshell of an announcement. Will You Snail was coming on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. And on February 17th, after 4 years of waiting, the community received the announcement of the century, the release date. Whether you've been following him since the beginning or just love him for his crazy personality, Jonas Tyroller is one of the most fascinating game dev YouTubers in the market. From his very first games made of paper and pen up until his 40-year crowning achievement, there's only one question left to ask. Will you snail? If you like Jonas Tyroller, chances are you also like Danny, so click the video at the top to see how he became one of the biggest game dev YouTubers ever in just 3 years.